family. Peace, 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 peace. Okay, now I know I was like before, I don't use the Clorox, okay? Every now and then, okay? I've been using it for my clothes, although this lighting. Okay, so all right, that's just gonna have to do. It's just gonna have to work. I wanted to come on here real quick. All right, I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. If not, do understand and get your day is going to get better once your perception gets better. And I just got in the house not too long ago, and one of the things that I was thinking about was like I sat on my bed as I came in the house. Of course, not with the street clothes, because you're talking about a pet peeve. A pet peeve of mine is sitting on the bed with your outside clothes on. You want to do something to me, do that, okay? But as I was sitting on the bed, this is one of the things that I started thinking about. I came across a picture of mine on Facebook, right on here. And one of the things I was thinking was the reason why I'm able to do a lot of the things that are challenging is because I don't have anybody telling me I can't do it, right? And I think like that's the most important thing. Like whenever you go in after your desires, after your goals and stuff like that, the most important thing is you want to get away from the people who's telling you can't do it. You want to get away from the people who's telling you, be careful and all this other stuff, right? Like, and somebody earlier had said, a brother had said earlier on my post, because I was saying about endorsing my bills, and he was like, be careful. So you guys gotta be mindful of some of the things, like when you telling people stuff. And I know, it's coming from a good place, but when you saying stuff like be careful or that's really it. Like be careful. It's like you put in the fear that you have, you put in that fear on somebody else. Right? Like you're trying to give them, that fear what you have. Okay. That's why I never say, and before I used to be like, oh, be careful. Like if I'm telling my children, something like, oh, be careful and stuff like that. I never say that. Okay. With my oldest daughter, I would tell her at times, I say, make sure you listen to your intuition, right? But be careful. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why, I'm able to do a lot of the stuff that I do when it comes to investing. Okay, I made a video about investing, and you have so many people that say, like when you tell them like, oh, I'm investing into this program, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you have so many people that's like, no, don't invest. You don't know if the people was going to take your money and all this other stuff. Let me tell you something, okay? And you guys hear me say this all the time. In order for you to get different from life, you have to become different. If you are a person that's like, well, I want to I want to get something different and I'm just going to stay the same, let me know how that's working for you. Because, staying the same, right? Thinking that, things is going to change while you stay the same, they're not going to change. And so the people, I don't hang around nobody that's not growing. If you're not growing, I don't hang around. I barely be around anybody nowadays anyway. Like it's mainly just me and my children. And when my children are here, I'm solo dolo. Okay. And so and that's another thing. You got to get in the habit of being okay by yourself. Like this journey that I'm on, one of the things that I see is it was a lot of things that needed to transpire for me to get to where I am today, right? And some of those things was, well, I always grew up pretty much by myself, right? Unless I was with my sister Melissa, who's my my ace one, day one, right? Besides her, you know, I never was a part of like big crowds and stuff like that. So I pretty much always was, you know, a loner, right? I never really did the big crowds. To me, I don't know. You know, I pay attention to people's energy and stuff like that. And yeah, so I never did the big crowds, the large crowds, and you know, stuff like that. I never did that. And so I don't have a problem with being by myself. Like earlier today, I went to the park. Okay, I went to this new park that they had built, like 2 towns over from me. And first I went to Trader Joe's and then I went to the park because I was like, I don't want to come back home right away, right? So I went to the park. I sat in a park. I read a book, the book that I showed you guys that I was reading, Dale Carnegie, How to Be of Influence and Win Friends. So I was reading that book, and then when I was ready to come home, I came on home, right? And so I enjoy the company that I have with myself. If you can't enjoy the company that you have with yourself, chances of you enjoying other people's company, you're not going to enjoy it as much as if you knew, or as much as if you was to start hanging by yourself. Because when you hang by yourself, the more you could appreciate somebody else's company. Okay? But that was, you know, some of the things that I wanted to say. Like, you know, when you telling people to be careful and all this other stuff, you know, to you may be like, well, I'm just telling them to be careful. Like, you know, the just make sure, whatever. I don't know. But that's fear. That's fear. I never tell nobody to be careful. That is like literally fear. That's fear that you have within yourself. And I know I said this already, but let me just say it again for the new people that's coming on here. When you telling people to be careful, right? It's like it's almost like you feel something is happening, or the fear that you have within you. It's like somebody telling you, oh bro, like look, I'm going to do this thing, and then you like, bro, be careful. Because you afraid to do it. Okay? Because you afraid. Just because you afraid to do something like that, don't put your fear on goddamn me. Don't try to pass your fear over here. Okay? Alright? And it's something else I wanted to tell you. So, this is really something. So, I remember a few months ago, well, probably like a few years, probably like 2 years ago, I had wanted a car, right? And I had came across this page on Instagram of these people, this car dealership, like they sell cars and stuff like that. And the cars that they sell, they do raffles sometimes. And so I remember I came across, you know, the page and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, well, you know, I need a car. So I was like, you know what, let me participate in this. And at first I was like ashamed because, well, I really wasn't ashamed in the beginning. I take that back. I felt like after I did the video, because you had to do like a video and then send it in to them. And then they would post the video on your Instagram. And on their Instagram. And so I remember I sent the video in, and and you had to have people like vote for you and stuff. And I remember I sent the video in, and I was like, oh my goodness, people who I worked with, they gonna, you know, hear the story, because it's like basically you had to plead like why you deserve a car. And whoever's story was, I guess, like the worst, right? Those was the people who got the car. Right, and by the way, the car it had really, really high mileage on here. Okay, so I had it was a guy who was following me on my Facebook page, and I I remember I seen, like, he did a video, but I didn't see it until later. And he sent me a message and stuff like that. And I don't know the guy from, from a milk carton, okay? I didn't know him personally or anything like that. I just, seen him on my Facebook page. And I remember he had a wife and everything. And his wife, he even had got his wife to vote for me, during this challenge and stuff. And I remember, like, me and him, like, he would hit me up on Messenger and stuff like that. He would ask me if I could be his mentor. Which I ain't really understand it, and I'm not downplaying myself, but I ain't really understand it. The reason being was because he was asking me to be his mentor, but he was a millionaire. So I was like, I didn't understand it, right? And to the ones that's like, well, how the hell he was a millionaire? So he had sent money, okay? He sent money to me, and he lived all the way like in Hawaii, okay? 1 second, family. So he had sent money to me, right? It was like, I think it was like $400, close to $500, right? And he just was like, oh, it's for me to get my children something for Christmas and stuff like that. I never met him a day in my life, okay? And so I remember, honey, it's that time of the month. So I remember, when he was, me and him, he would text me, on Messenger, like I said, and, we would talk on Messenger and stuff like that. Him just telling me, like, how he wanted to stop smoking weed and all this other stuff, right? And so I remember one day he had said to me, like, it's different. Like, it's different ways that you could, make money and stuff, right? And at that time, hey, it's Sean, peace to you, baby. Hey, bestie, peace to you, baby, peace to you, peace to you. And he was telling me, like, all these different, different things and stuff like that. So at that time, I was selling, the detox tea. So some of you guys who've been, rocking out to my channel for a minute or whatever, I did, different network marketing too, okay? And at this time, I was doing the first network marketing company that I was a part of. And as I was doing a network marketing company, and this guy, okay, who's a millionaire, okay, living in Hawaii, okay, and the reason I know that, he was out in Hawaii and all this other stuff, because when he sent me the payment on PayPal, it has like information on it, like where the payment is coming from, right? And like the address and stuff like that. So I seen his address and his house. It definitely was like 1 point something million. Right. So anywho, fast forward. So he was telling me, like, it's different things that, people do and stuff like that. He was telling me, like, how he became a millionaire, something with air conditioners or something. And so later on, I remember, and I was like, we was cool, right? Like, I mean, granted, I didn't know him, but he seemed like a rather calm person. I mean, he sent me damn near $500, right? And for me to get my children something for Christmas. So, so one thing led to another. So he was asking me if I could be his mentor. And at that time, I just was like kind of confused, because I was like, bro, you a whole millionaire. Why do you want me? And at that time, working on the self-image, but I just couldn't fathom, like, you have all this money and you want me to be a mentor. And he was just talking about him smoking weed and all this other stuff, right? So fast forward, he sent me a message one day, and he was like, oh, Dina, it's different ways that you could make money. And it was like, it was a scheme, okay? Like something with the church and stuff like that. And I never forget, I was like, I'm not doing that, right? Because he was like, oh, it's a lot of people that do it and all this other stuff. And I was like, I'm not doing it. So one of the things when it comes to like integrity or whatever it is like that and just lying on somebody else, like that I'm not finna do, right? And so he was responding back to the messages and he was like, oh yeah, they do say the nice people finish last and all this other stuff. I guess like he felt some type of way. And so what I did was I just blocked him. So, to the people out there, right? Because you guys hear me talking about consumer law now, right? And a lot of people are scary cats, okay? And so don't put that shit on me. Okay, don't put that my way. Okay, if it's something that you won't do because you are afraid, that ain't got shit to do with me. Okay, that don't have nothing to do with me. And I tell you guys all the time, everybody's journey is different. You get what I'm saying? And everything that I have gone through up until this point, it all has meaning behind it. Like it's nothing, and that's for all of us, right? Like it's nothing that any of us ever go through, and it's just like for the sake of. It's always meaning behind everything. It's meaning behind everything that we tend to do. Every person we come across, every experience that we experience is meaning behind it. And if you take some time out and be still, okay? Or sometimes it take a little while for you to, for things to come full circle and for you to be like, oh, I needed to go through that, or I know why I met this person. And then it clicks. It starts making sense. So, on my journey, for the ones that I don't even want to say for the ones that just started following me, okay? Because this guy, I believe he been following me for a minute. But you're gonna see me doing different things. Look, if you want somebody to stay the same, this not for you. my channel is definitely not for you. And everything that I tend to do, okay, every challenge that I face within myself, okay, every thing that appears to be a certain type of way, I check in with myself, okay? And I definitely follow my synchronicities, the synchronicities that I receive. And so you got to do what works for you. But one of the reasons why I do a lot of the stuff I do, I don't have nobody telling me I can't do it, okay? I don't have one person telling me I can't do it. Because the truth of the matter is, if I ever came across anybody, right, and me and them became friends or whatever it is, and if they was like, oh well, don't do this or putting a fear on me, I would cut them off so quick. I would literally cut them off so quick. Okay? And so you got to be mindful what type of people are you hanging around? You really got to be mindful, like who are you being around? All right? Because a lot of times the reason why you think you can't do stuff is because the people that you hanging around. And a part of me was like, oh, I'm not going to, talk about consumer law no more. And then I was like, no, I'm a record the process. I'm going to show you guys every bit of the process. Okay? So I just wanted to come on here and say that. Okay? Like, you capable of so much more than what you are doing. But if you hanging around people that's constantly, telling you can't do this or you gonna fail at that, or the ones who really get me, and this is going off from what I said, is the ones, now it's two types of people. The ones who say it's nothing to be afraid of, okay, And I get that point too, right? Like, oh, it's nothing to be afraid of, or something like to that extent, right? A lot of times those are the people that's not playing out. Those are the people that's not doing, anything. They just in a comfort zone, okay? Because some of the things that I do, I know like my old self would have never done it, okay? And that's why it's such thing as divine timing. So that's one, right? So is one, and I know what I said. I said, don't tell me to be careful and all this other stuff. Don't put that shit on me. Keep that shit to yourself. Keep it for you, okay? So is the ones that say, be careful, those, and then the ones that says it's nothing to be afraid of, okay? And I know that may sound like a contradiction, right? But it is what it is, okay? So to the person that's out there, I always say to the person that's out there, if you want to change your life, you got to do something different. You definitely got to do something different. If you just going through life and just expect for your life just to magically, appear different, is not. One of the guys who I love listening to is Dr. Wayne Dyer. And one of the things I remember him saying, I remember so vividly when I would do Uber. And I remember listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer, and it was times where as though I'm listening to his recording as I'm driving, and the tears is just coming down my face because I'm crying listening to his audio. But I remember one of the things he said was, wanting the outside world to change is almost as if you go into the doctor and asking the doctor to write a prescription for your mother-in-law as opposed to writing a prescription for you. He also stated that imagine that you had some keys and you dropped your keys in a house somewhere, right? And you outside looking for the keys. Now, mind you dropped the keys inside the house, right? And now a friend comes along and is pretty much asking you like, oh, what's up? Like, what you doing? You like, oh, I'm looking for these keys. And then the friend is like, well, I can help you. And the friend is helping you look for the keys. And it, probably like an hour go past and stuff like that. And then a friend start asking you questions like, well, when the last time you've seen the keys? And then you say, oh, when I was in the house. And then a friend says, so why are you looking for the keys outside? Right? And it's the same as that goddamn concept. Okay? Same as that concept. You looking for this stuff outside your existence when everything is already within you. Okay? And you just gotta be it. You just gotta be it. You gotta become it, okay? Not fake it till you make it, because it's not a such thing as faking it in this here universe, okay? Now, I know I said before, you actually gotta become the person before you have it, all right? Like, you gotta walk as if you have it. You gotta speak as if you have it, okay? You gotta do as if you have it. Now, I know somebody out there probably be like, well, how am I do if I have it, if I want to have so much money and, it's nothing in my account or whatever. It's certain things that you can do. It's certain things that you can do. You could give. You can give. Nothing is stopping you from giving. You can give somebody $1 that's probably on the street. You can give, and it will always be returned tenfold back to you. Okay, so just be mindful of those those things that we tend to say we desire or whatever. I know for me lately, I just keep saying like my life is getting better and better and better, because it truly is. It actually is, right? And that's not something that is like I believe, is something that I know, is a knowing. Okay, and so with that being said, I love you guys, honey. Let me get ready to drink my tea and finish listening to this class that I had paid for with consumer law, and I catch you guys on the next one. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. You know, you're going to be wanting people to believe in you, but they can't, if they don't believe in themselves, no way they going to possibly believe in you. So you got to believe in yourself. And if you hanging around people that's saying, like, you know, you can't do this, or, hey, you going to do that, like they putting all these doubts in your mind, let alone you may already have some doubts already. But then you got other people coming along with their doubts. Come on now. Come on now. Okay? Because it's one thing for you to feel a certain type of way. But then when you hanging around other people that's putting that shit on you, you got to decide. You know, is I don't care who it is. If I just get the inkling, like my sister Melissa, she may not believe some of the shit that I say, but not once have she ever said, you can't do that. Not once. And you know, is my sister. I've loved her to the life of me. That, like, that's one of the people that, you know, I'm very close to my sister Melissa. And if she ever said something like that, I would cut her off. And me and her been through everything, and I mean everything together. But she never come out her mouth and say, I don't think you can do that. She never come out her mouth and say, you know, like, that's impossible. She may laugh when I tell her something, but she never come out and I say, what you laughing for? Or whatever. But she'll never come out and say, you know, I'm laughing at what you just told me or whatever. She'll never come out and say anything like that. Like, I don't care who the person is. I will cut them off. And that's how you got to be about your life. Because you already have some disbelief in yourself from the ego. The ego is already going to be telling you, you know, don't do this, because the ego don't want you to grow. Okay, it doesn't want you to grow. It wants you to stay stagnant. It wants you to stay the same, right? And so as long as you're growing, right, it's like the ego is dying. So if you hanging around people that is saying, you know, all these different things, remember, all that shit is going into your subconscious mind. And I tell you guys each and every time, the subconscious mind, it does not know fantasy from reality. So if you hanging around people and they constantly telling you and they putting their fears on you, telling you what you can't do, telling you that they don't see that within you, and all, I'm going to give you guys a story. I know I said I was getting off here. I'm going to give you guys a story. So a few years ago, well, this was like more than a few years ago, I remember I was part of this program, right, with welfare, right? And this is like when I first got on welfare. And at this time, like, I was getting cash, right, from welfare and food stamps. And I remember my oldest son, I just had my oldest son not too long ago, right? And so now I find out I got to do this program, whatever it is like that. And so I'm taking this program, I'm doing this program, and we go around, and this program basically is like, you know, like school supposedly, but we all meet, all the women that's like, you know, have been assigned, who's on welfare has been assigned to this location, right? And, they will play motivational stuff. And as I'm talking about this and thinking about it, I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's oftentimes I think about like, damn, you know, I was listening to motivational stuff back then. But they will play motivational stuff, like the people the staff members that was like pretty much over the program, right? And so, you know, the school thing, like when you get in welfare, the money, okay, they gonna make your ass do an activity, okay? So I remember we was going around the table, right? And we was going around the table, and it was this older lady, right? And I had said that I wanted to become a police officer. And she was like, I don't see that. And I was stung, you know, by that. And I was like, what? And she was like, I don't see that. And so some of the people was laughing, right? Some of the women was laughing. And one of the things that I absolutely love is shutting people up. Okay. And I like in a way whereas though physical thing, but more so about like action as in actions. Like me, like sleep on me. Like just and a lot of times that ain't got nothing to do with you. That has everything to do with them. So anyway, so she was like that, and she was like, cause it don't seem like you're alert. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, she trying to say I'm slow, right? Because alert means, like you up. Like, and I was like, what the? And I took real offense to like what she was saying and stuff. And one of the things that you have to understand and get when people tell you stuff that has nothing to do with you, I guarantee you it has nothing to do with you. Then, right? So that was one time. I remember when I had did a video and I was on Facebook, okay, on here. And I remember I was going to Chase Bank to open up my business account. This is like when I had my business and I was opening up the account and I was so excited. And one of the guys that was following me on here, watching my lives, and he would comment and stuff like that, whatever. And I remember one day he said, he was like, I know if you can do it, I know I can do it. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is that supposed to mean? And one of the things that I started realizing, first, one of the things you got to understand, like in the book, The 4 Agreements, don't be taking things personal, okay? Like, don't be taking things personal. It don't have nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing. And so when he said that, one of the things I started thinking was, well, if you know you can do it, why are you not doing it? Like if you look at somebody else and you're like, well, I know if you can do it, I can do it. Your next question should be to yourself, like, so why aren't you? Like you saying you know that person is able to do it. And because they can do it, you know you can do it. But what's stopping you? What's stopping you? Because you know what? Last time I checked, we all had 24 hours in a day. Okay. And so to try to put that little diss in, like, if you can do it, girl, I know I can do it. Then why aren't you? That's how I see it. Because I when I see people and they real successful, one of the things I'm like, and I do say, if they can do it, I know I can do it. But I don't come from a place where as though it's like, if you doing this, I know I can do it. Like almost as if to say, like, you don't think this person is capable of doing it. Right? And that's how it came across. Okay. So with that being said, just be mindful of the people that you're hanging around. Be very mindful. You trying to grow. First off, if you hanging around people that's not growing, start asking yourself why. All that, this is my family. I don't give a damn what they are. Okay? That does not matter. Okay? Remember, you came here for a reason. And if you're going to use excuses like, that's my family, I don't want to leave them behind, then don't be saying, I want to manifest or I desire this or whatever it is, because a lot of this, you're going to have to walk by yourself. And when I say walk by yourself, like you guys know, I say like my ancestors are with me, my spiritual guys, like they guiding me and stuff like that. But you're going on a physical, right? It's going to be times you're going to have to walk by yourself. And so if you feel like you don't have the heart to do so, then shame on you, because you are way more capable than what you think. Okay? You are way more powerful than what you think. And you have the power and the ability to do so. But you gotta see that, you deserve more. You gotta see that you're worthy of more. You keep doing the same, I always say, you get the same. And who fault is that? Like, who fault is, like, damn, this person keep treating me like that. That's nobody else's fault. That's yours. Because one, you keep allowing it. Nobody can do anything without your permission. Even the whole thing with endorsing your bills, right? Like the consumer law. People will complain like, oh, they working all these hours and, all this different stuff. But they don't do nothing about it. Like, they don't, even if they have an inkling like something is off, something do not make sense, they don't do nothing about it. They don't question, their reality. They just go through. They just go through life like, like the Walking Dead, the sheep. And you're going to get slaughtered. With that being said, peace.